Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Plus3 Futures and Commodities midweek show. Today's show is going to be the dedication show. We're going to dedicate 30 minutes to your requests, things you wanted to see. In addition to that, we're going to throw in a couple things that we want to look at and show you. But let's dive right into it because we got a 30-minute hard stop. No conversations that I'm going to initiate that are going to take us to 90 minutes. So,
We saved that for Friday.
yeah, Barry, let's jump in. Russell
All right.
2000, what do we got?
What do we got? What do we got is a weekly chart. Really impressive because you can see, we've been talking about these 90-week cycles in the
Hmm.
S&P, and we've seen in a couple of other markets. You can see how we had a 90-week cycle go up into the end of 21,
Into the
where
high.
the
Yep.
Russell squared out. It was
Hmm.
by 180 by 90. And so this is, we keep talking about like, oh, the S&P just had a 90. What happens next? Well, here's an example. Here's Russell 2000. Look what happened. Look how long it was down after he squared out. You know,
At
basically,
least another 90 weeks.
well, two,
Right.
literally just 2 years. So it's almost 2 years. So
Yeah.
I think it's something to notice, that's for sure. And anytime you have these cycles come up, and that's why we spend time talking about them. Anyway, getting back to the Russell, what we have is really it looks like the number to watch. I mean, this is a weekly, so it's a little bit of a slow mover, but the number to watch is 2036.
Hmm.
Why? Because that's the 50% of the square. And you can see after we squared out, we came down exactly 50% to the 90 right
Yep.
there. And we held it for 2 years straight. I mean, all this stuff we talk about on a weekly basis about holding above, below, and breaking
Hmm.
out.
Hmm.
This should be like a text chart.
That's the educational chart right there.
Exactly. I'm telling you, this should be. When I was looking at it, I'm thinking this should be the educational chart. Anytime we want to go into examples, this would be the one. It's very
Yeah.
clean.
I mean, it retraced 50% of the move, one square. I mean, it's just perfect.
Yeah, and corrected within a 50% of a square
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah.
So anyway, so where are we now? We're above 2036, which is the 50% of the upper square. And we didn't quite, get up to the 180-degree level, which is around 2400. So 2400 would be the level to get above and stay above in order to continue. But I would say in order to continue into the next square. But I think for now, holding above 2036 would be the thing to watch. And I think this is more positive than negative, being that, if you look at the pattern, we had a big battle triangle over here
Hmm.
at the 50% line, exactly 50% of the square. And you can see we broke out, came back for a retest, rallied, and now we're just sort of holding right above that. So I think, and we have structural support here. So you can see, we somehow managed to get above it on this break right there. Now, if we can continue to do that, 2036 is the level to watch. If we can hold above that, I think the Russell's looking kind of positive.
If we lose 2036, though, you also have a lower high in place. Yeah, and you got to watch
If
out.
we lose 2036, then we have a whole nother program running here.
All right.
Yeah, seriously. The thing is, here we have 45 weeks. It wasn't a high going into 45 weeks, but nonetheless, we could have ran the 90, but we didn't. So it feels like there's
Hmm.
a little bit left to go. But you can
Hmm.
see 2036, and even coming off the low before the high, 2005 is sort of the bottom line there. You see that? If you
Hmm.
were to draw a buffer.
Sure.
So I think the thing to remember is, that 30-point buffer, that range. And if we can manage to stay above that, I think we're probably in good shape.
Sure.
So, and that'll go a long way if we can manage to watch that. And we'll bring it up maybe once a month. We can bring it up every 4 bars.
Hmm. Regional
Yes.
banks.
Hey, very good. Yep.
Hmm.
So we had a few requests actually for regional banks. It's interesting. I mean, again, we don't have a lot of time to get into the analytics, but what I did was I dropped a little zone in on here. Something interesting, if you can see the 67
Hmm.
from the high, we had, another 90 week again. Look at this,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
90
that was
week run
perfect,
up,
man. Yep.
and we corrected year and a half. Um, Again, see, these are not 1 or 2 week corrections.
No,
When they hit,
no.
you can really go. And there's a lot tied to that. We'll talk about that on Friday. But anyway, we were 67. weeks down, and look, from the low, we're 67 weeks up, is right in here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
stuck under resistance and the half square.
Right.
Yep.
Now we didn't get the exact high, but we ran roughly, we were, the general trend was up for 67 weeks,
Yeah.
let's just say. So
Yeah.
that balance is interesting. It's just something I noticed. On top of that, just what you said, we have a 50% of the square above. We really need to get above that in order to
Yeah.
pick up real, let's just say real momentum.
Mhm.
In the meantime, down here we have 49. So I think the bracket for banks would be between 49 and 60.
Mhm.
And we could consolidate in here, but if you look at the pattern from the low, you can see we're doing pretty clean. I mean, we did 5 waves up, right? We did 3 sections, one, two,
Mhm.
three.
Yep.
So it makes sense for the banks to take a little break, but long as it breaks above 49, I think it should be okay. Now, again,
Sure.
like we said, so here's the other little wrinkle in the whole thing is it's 90
Yeah, we're
coming
getting
up
stuck
here.
under that 90.
And we couldn't really do anything above that. And you see the 50% here held perfectly. So this
Mhm.
square is running, and it's it's active square. We're running in weeks. So 90 weeks comes up in early 25.
Interesting time there.
Right.
That's a panic window for me, early 25.
Well, it wouldn't, we could certainly hit up in here around 60 in that time frame, and
Mhm.
we'll
And
have to
roll
see.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
roll
let's
over.
let's
So
see.
below
Let's see.
60, I would say it's more soft than it's ready to go, on firm grounds. But 49 is sort of the floor, let's just say. Okay.
Let's move to the 10-year.
Yeah. And 45 would be that other line that we saw. So there's a couple of
Mhm.
buffers, but 49 is the most important one. 10-year, let's just say a little more to go, which makes
Yeah.
sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah. With the 30-year breaking out. Yep.
And I noticed today, we held above our level perfectly.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Made a new high.
yep. So, and I wouldn't, really put a lot of weight on that and say, well, let's see it move a little. But after looking at this, I'm like, all right, we have a little more to go.
Yep.
So it looks like 116, 117 is where we're headed. And once we get there, then, you know, if all this is correct, um, that should probably do it. 117 is right up here at 90.
It looks like the ABCD ends right up at 92, doesn't it?
Uh,
Off of your October low. No, that down here, the low there.
this big
Yeah.
one here.
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah, that looks like, yeah, let me put that on. That's
Looks like
actually,
it goes right to the 90.
yeah, it's worthwhile for these kind of seemingly quiet markets.
Hmm.
No, hell, we already hit
Wow, we already hit
it.
it. Yep.
And we're getting through it.
We're
So,
trying to push through it too. So, yep.
so
Could really,
now
really squeeze.
it's kind of like the same pattern with the 30-year, right?
Hmm.
If you pretend this is the, top of the square, you can see we're trying to break out and
Yeah.
get on top of it. So we know what happens there. Once it breaks out, it's very strong. So I think 117 can be expected. It's a couple of points, but
Hmm.
good enough. Let's see how that works out. Anything you want to add?
No, it looks good.
We're good,
Like a
right?
little extra to go.
Yeah, a
Next
little
is
more to
gold
go.
miners.
Yep. Junior miners. Here, the story is really interesting because
Mm.
I mean, this is the weekly, and look at the low we've been putting in. We've been, since 2000, what, 14, 15,
Wow.
we've been stretching this thing out. And these things, once they move, they go for, 2, 3 years, right?
When
3.
I see a commodity like that, I start salivating
And look
because,
at this. I mean, if you go back to the high back in 2011,
right?
175, we're at $44 right now.
Wow.
So I think when this thing gets some traction, it could really move. And I think I'll even go a little further and say I think it's getting started.
That's a 10-year base, man.
Yeah, it's a very solid base, and it looks like it's just getting started. And I really think the breakout is really 48 right here.
Hmm.
And if we can get above and hold above 48, I think that's going to be, at least signaling the next level of the breakout. Once it
Hmm.
breaks out of here, next we have to take out the high that we had in 2020, which was 66. Now, as we pass that, we know this is a done deal and we're going, right? So this
Hmm.
is a launch point, but we're right in there. So I'm glad you guys brought it up. and it's a good. I'm going to start watching this. It's a good one to watch. And so really, we need to, 44 to 48 is really sort of the bracket here. Bracket meaning we want to be able to clearly hold about 44 when whatever is done here, and then getting about 48 should get us moving at least to 60s, low 60s to get up on the other side of the target.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the cool thing is if I move the square to the low, now you'll see where I got the here, let me show you this.
Your bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you see, so we're kind of not quite over it and not quite under it.
Battling,
But you can see like the pressures to the upside,
sure.
And
Yep.
that's why I'm saying so 44, 48. Once we settle above 44, it's probably going to be ready to go. So, and 48 is just the old highs, and it should move right along. Anything you want to add? I think we're
Nope.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
think when gold is all this done and said and done, and look how well this held up, right? So I think
Mhm.
it's very good. Plus the trend line is way down here. I think we have a 1 by 1,
Right.
much higher. So we'll visit this every once in a while and keep you guys posted. The yen. Now we're switching to a daily chart. Well, pretty much like the 10-year chart we just looked at. Little more to go. So
Yeah, a little more.
looks like 139 should be the target. Again, I don't have time to go and justify why that would be worthwhile, but trust me, it is. 139 is a place where you can reach easily and maybe a little more, but 139 completing the square now would find good support in this area. Yeah, we might get into the eighth of the next square. So let's say 137, 139 is definitely a doable support level. So
What's the date of that 90 by 90? Looks like early November.
let me take a look at that. Yeah, November.
Oh, the day after the election.
No.
Nice.
So a lot of things can happen.
Yep.
Now, with that 90, no telling, where we would end up on the square wise. We could go to quarter square anywhere, but
Sure.
that's an important 90 because yen's been running really well
Yeah.
overall. All right.
And look how it broke out of that consolidation it was in right at the 45.
You mean right up here? Oh
No,
no, here.
down. Yeah, right in there.
Mm-hmm.
See, it
Another
was
triangle.
going. Yeah, it was triangulating, and then boom. Once
Mhm.
you got to the 45, you
Yep.
broke your triangle.
There it is,
Hmm.
right there. So this is I don't think this is a false break. Why? Because we know the 90 is right under it. So it looks like we're going to go there. And if we go there, you can see why else we'd go there, because we could certainly do a cleanup job here
Yep.
with the false break.
Hmm.
And we have this low. So I think where is that low? It's around 137. So
Yeah. Your
know,
bracket's good.
yeah, that's so we'll keep that. We'll work with that.
Next, uranium.
Yes.
CCJ, uranium stock.
Still a hot commodity.
Hmm.
A request. CCJ is good enough. We can watch this. There's lots of ways to track it, and they have a similar pattern. Here we're back to the weeklies, and we had we went up roughly. Let's just say roughly. I would like to count the timeout with this low before the final blowout, the washout low, which would be right here. And that would give us 180 by 225 at the
That's
high.
nice.
Right. And you can see how we broke out here.
Look how it handled that 90. Boom, boom, boom. Hit it multiple times.
Yeah. Up here. Yeah. Everything sits up fairly nicely. But I keep that in memory, and we'll go back to here. So the charts look normal to everybody.
Right.
So,
right. We don't
anyway,
want to freak them out with a different placement.
Yeah. What are you guys doing? Anyway, so being that, we were up 180 by 225, that's a big deal. And we ran hard up into it. That was a really solid move from 2020. Now, to the downside, it looks like we broke through the 50%. We tested it here and we kind of broke through. And here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it looks like we could do 3 sections down into 33.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, 33, surely, between that and the full square around 28, 30. I mean, we have structural support here, a lot of stuff going on. So at least, the way we're trading, this will give us a three sections down, three sections that went down, right, into
Mm-hmm.
33. And that would also give us, what else would give? It also gives us 90 degrees down. There's
Yeah.
4 squares down. So I think let's stay with 33. And once we get there, we can deal with the rest depending on when we get there. And the only other thing is the way to discount that would be if we get to settle above 39.25, which is the 50% of the square. I don't think it doesn't look like it wants to do that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a general pattern for uranium. And I don't think the downside is done, especially after we had, that kind of a big, 225-week high
Mm-hmm.
come in. So kind of a big deal. And so that's the request. Those are the request charts. Oh, I also wanted to look at crude because you know what happened today.
Yep. Everybody's all over crude.
Yeah.
Crude's going to zero, Barry. It's going to
Yeah.
zero.
Well, we know what happened once upon a time. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, anyway, so here the deal is if you guys don't watch our, weekly show, we cover crude every week. And also if you like our work and if you like the midweek drop, let us know. We will continue to do it. Otherwise, if it's too much for you guys to watch and follow, we could just stay with the Friday
Weekly.
show, which is just
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. And if you like this and like the work, please remember to like and ring the bell, subscribe, share.
Set that on that high. It's off the high a little bit because I think we showed it. It hits it perfectly.
Well, that was from the other high, I think, or another
Let's
high, different high.
let's see.
No, this is on the high. This is
Yeah,
yeah,
that's on the high. Yep.
this high, you mean?
No, no, you had it set on the high that where it hit it right there. Yeah.
Yeah, right there, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I see. There was a little bit of a thing. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's the deal with crude? Well, we cover it every week, and basically, since we couldn't get above 70, I mean, we've been waiting for support ever since we couldn't get above 83. What happened, the story is just to take a minute. We made the lows at 73. We were looking for it to get to 83, which we did. Couldn't quite get above. And once it broke 79.50, we talked about it going to 73.50 because that was our next level. And slowly but surely it did. And we thought 73.50, 73 might hold. And we talk about it every week. So it's all on the tapes. You guys can go and check it, which is pretty cool that we were looking at. If 73 goes, we're looking at to be down here in the 64, 75, 63 area. And although I couldn't believe that we'd get there, right,
Mm-hmm.
Ben?
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, right? Not too far. Now, the important thing here is, look, I think as far as satisfying the degree of movement we've had, it's fine. I think, we got there. So be it. But I think this bracket here is important to watch. It's between 61.60, 61.61. Let's say 61.60 and let's say 64. Right in here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bracket. So it's possible we do that, and crude can do that without going all the way down to the 72 or the 90. 90 is way down here at $50 crude, which I just, let's just see. Never know
Right, right.
with these things, but
Who knows?
yeah, but for now, it looks like we're really getting into an area more of flushing out weak hands than anything else. And the reason I say that is we have these lows from 23, March and May lows, and you can see if we get down to about 63 and a half, it's right in the middle of that buffer zone that we marked up. You can look to the right.
Yeah.
And that'll flush out, sort of these, do a false break, and be a good place to put it low in.
And I have to amend what I said.
Mm-hmm.
We'll know if it gets stuck below 64.75, then it might be heading to 50.
That's right.
Odds will increase dramatically. It's heading to 50.
Yes.
So that's the key.
Yeah. And getting stuck below formula has worked for us really well. It worked here, as you guys can see. This is what we mean by getting stuck below. When we sold off, went to 73.50, came up to 79 and a half. We turned down, Counter trend couldn't even get near it. You see how we failed? We failed
Yep.
73.50. At this point, I remember talking about, hey, now we got to go check 60. So now
Yeah.
we've done the full run, a 60-degree run in little more than 240 trading day. So let's see how it ends up. But I think again, a little bit more to go.
Yep.
That's all I have. I don't know if we want to touch the 30-minute or not for all the ES people. Not much to say. Just that
Grinding up now.
grinding up, looking for a low here, got it, resistance, support. It's just basically kind of like your chart's been doing a pinball thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The ping pong. Yep.
Ping pong, yeah. So now, yeah, not pinball.
Pinball's good.
That'd be yeah.
We're
So,
showing our age though. We like pinball.
so well, we like, yeah.
Many
So
quarters left my hand because of pinball.
exactly. So here, well, now what we have left with is really we need to get about 54.95. We can settle above it like we're trying to do here, but we really need to make some effort. Then we can go back and test our old level 55.39. Otherwise, we're probably going to be range bound until we have some kind of a break one way or the other. So let me put it to you. We can
Okay. I'll
Nasdaq.
quickly do NQs and silver.
Is that a monthly chart there, Ben?
This is a monthly.
Looks
Yep.
outrageous, that run
And
up.
so, yeah, it is. But the key thing, why I want to show you the monthly, look where price is right now,
Mm-hmm.
and look where we're sitting.
Yeah.
So this is a key spot to say the least. I mean, we're only at September 10th, so there's about another 10, 15 trading days left, I guess, in this
Mm-hmm.
month.
Mm-hmm.
But if we close below that, you know, that's a bad sign for the NQs. And
October
that,
lows.
yep,
That's what it would
that's
mean.
right. That's right. The NQs, and the number is, around 18,770, 18,8 in that area. We want, the bulls want to close on top of that. We've already crossed it, twice now. So we're working on an inside bar. The other thing that's going to give us, if we have this inside bar, is we'll have see if we take out the top, we're going higher. If we take out the low, it's rollover time.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted to show that. I mean, all kinds of timing came in near the high, depending upon, what low you use. You had 101, you had a 52, you had a 188, you had a 261,
Mm-hmm.
just a lot of stuff there.
Right.
So, and that was also the 90-week high. Let me just show that real quick on the weekly. This is why, Barry and I talk about these 90 weeks, man. Look at that.
Mm.
You had a 90-week, you broke the circle, sharp move down, rallied up. We failed at this half square. And so now we're again working on an inside week.
Yeah.
So the weight of the evidence is down. If we can't close on a weekly basis over this half square, look out because the next wave down is going to be coming. And that's the NQs.
Ben, we talk about 90 weeks. I know again, people talk about 90, but I haven't seen a lot of 90-week stuff. But if you look at the low from 2020 to the high in 21, that was 90 weeks. That was a 90-week run. Very clean.
Here to here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And look at the correction. It wasn't like 2-3 weeks.
No, it wasn't a little correction. It was 2 years.
So you see you know what I mean? Like these aren't,
Yeah.
we can't really like let it go and say, oh, let's just buy the dip, after a 90-week cycle expires. So
It's
kind of a
major.
big deal. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So anything else you want to add on NQs?
No, we're good. We're good.
All right, let's go to silver. Here's the weekly. Now, why I want to show silver, I know there's been a lot of frustration and a lot of calls for, oh, this is going to collapse, it's going to break down. We did have a 90-week at the high. So that's not insignificant, as we just talked about. And when it came in, we talked about silver. We said, we can expect some kind of correction.
Mm-hmm.
We did an ABCD down right into support, and now we're staying on top of this full square. And this is really a really important spot. So call it 2750 is the number. As long as we're above 2750, we're okay. It's bullish, right? Because we're sitting on top of all this.
Right.
And, checking these highs from back in 20 and 21. But until we get above, get a weekly bar above 29 and three quarters, we're still going to be correcting and doing this. Once we get above here, then it's going to be challenging the highs.
Mhm.
And that's your weekly. So we're not discounting the 90. We talked about it when it came in, that was important. That was in May. And so far we've got, 3-4 months of correction. Wouldn't be surprised if we see more. But so far it's just time. It's not so much price.
Right.
Let's quickly look at the monthly. Here's your key level on the monthly, right?
Mhm.
Which we've already tested last month. That's 2673. Got to stay on top of that. Because if you lose that and get stuck under, this is what you're looking at on a monthly basis,
Mhm.
15, 16 potential. So this is a really important spot here. And this is a 45 square. You can see from low to high here, we did, 22. That
Mhm.
kind of coincided with that 90 on the weekly. So that was a big cycle. The question is, can we burn it off in time without having price erosion? So far, the answer is yes. We'll see how it goes. Anything else to add on silver?
No, we're good.
All right. So that is the midweek dedication whip around show. It's the whip around because we went super fast, but we're trying to get you, the information. We're trying to address the requests that you made, and we want to, have you understand how these squares work and how the geometry works by showing you a bunch of examples, and hopefully that came through today. As always, if you like it, please share with your friends, subscribe, get your friends to subscribe, ring the bell. The channel's growing. We're excited about it. You guys are into the videos, so it's kind of a virtuous circle. It makes us want to do more when we see that the stuff is resonating with you all. Anything else you want to add, Barry, before we wrap it up here tonight?
No, we're good. I'm looking forward to the Friday show, which we have time to get a little bit more in depth to each chart. So we'll get back to that. This is good for
Excellent.
now. Mhm.
Well, everybody enjoy your week. Keep your eye on the ball. Make sure you watch the levels. Don't pay attention to the news. Just pay attention to the levels and the timing, and you'll be way ahead of the game. So
Yep.
have a great rest of the week, everybody, and we'll talk to you on Friday.
Thanks, Ben. Good job.
All
Take
right.
care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.